Alrighty, boys and girls, friends, neighbors, and loved ones. Today's video is going to be about servicing this old snowblower. This is a 5-horse, 24-inch cut blow. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. Snowblower. It is rather on the old side. I don't know the year exactly. I probably could decode it off the engine. The motor is, the engine is a Tecumseh Snow King, and it is a 5 horsepower, as I said before, flathead. Pretty old technology. Some of you guys might remember this particular snowblower in a video I made about blowing off the deck of a home that I used to own up on a mountain hill, very large hill. And we haven't used it since, so it's been sitting for a while. So let's quickly go through it. And what we're going to do with the flavor of this video is to consider this. If you see that weird light moving around, I'm wearing a headlamp. That's what that is. We're going to consider this maybe looking at a used snowblower. So I'm going to get this in the service position, and we'll start with the front. So stand by. Okay, first things first. If we look at the augers, we can see, man, is this thing rusty inside, eh? We can see that this particular unit has one auger that is free, so it's moving on the shaft. The shaft bushings are terrible, by the way. I don't know, I'll talk to Jake, see what we're going to do with this thing. Maybe order some shaft bushings and do that. This side may be bent outward. This is where we're getting this gap, and this one appears to be seized to the shaft. So we'll pull these bolts out and see if we can get them spinning freely. This particular model is a cheapie, so there is no grease gun. So we'll see if we can put some spray grease there and get something happen. The impeller, although rusty, looks to be in good condition. Bearing feels good. There's no play in the shaft. Yeah, skid shoes, some wear to them. Not a super lot. This unit may not have been heavy use because it came from Southern Ontario. We brought it with us, so it's not too bad. It's just gonna need a little bit of love. So there you go. There's the front. So we know what we got there. Put her back in the operating position. I'll pull the belt cover off and have a look at the belts. Right off the hop. Sorry about the finger. The controls seem to be tensioned okay. And this one might, yeah, this one's loose. See? We'll have to adjust the cables. There's a couple of things so far we've come across. Getting to the gas tank. It's bone dry, as I figured. Muffler appears to be good. There's a screw missing out of there. There's screws there. That's intact. That's there. That's there. Primer bulb seems to be there. And we'll pull the spark plug out and have a quick look at it in a second. Recoil rope does have some fuzziness to it. So, now, that's the top end. Look, I'll get after the belt in a second. Let's have a look underneath. I did take, oh, you bugger. Hold on one second. This is a two-hand event. Alrighty. Oh, I got that. What do we got here? I believe the axles. Yeah, the axle's moving around because the wheels aren't pinned. So there's a design for you. The pinned wheels keep the axle in place. How about that? Because there's this drive sprocket, and I don't see, there's a pin on one side but not the other. Well, that's quite strange. Well, it's MTD. What do you expect? So the drive wheel, like a lot of the other ones, is burned out, and it's not a surprise because the work that this poor little snowblower has done, it's been quite a lot. That friction plate is pretty good. Sorry, dry plate friction wheel. Friction wheel is the one that's problematic. And this plate is in good shape. It just needs to be cleaned, so we'll clean that. Again, this cable's too loose. We can adjust that. Yeah, and we'll go from there. I did the service on this about 4 years ago. So you can see the wheels turn freely on the axles, which is a good thing, because if you ever have to service these bushings, you can take it apart. And that's kind of half the game. Speaking of the bushings, I don't know if you can see that. There's a minimal amount of play. We'll go this way. There's a bit more. Now these, I've changed them in the past, and sometimes you don't notice a big difference. Like this side's pretty tight, and this side's pretty loose, so it's hard to say. They're at the point I'm not going to bother with them. The tires are completely shot. These are 410 on 6-inch rims. I don't think I have any tires in stock. I don't know if these will hold air. They're pretty. These are dry rotted. This machine's a few years old. Yeah. So without any more brouhaha, I am going to pull out this drive wheel and put a new one in, and we'll see what it takes to get that out. So it appears I have a nut on this side and what may be a bolt on that side. I don't know. Get this off. That's the joy Annie sees right there. Like, that's a little bit dry, but you know what? It's walking off, and that's what we want. And these chains do not fit that well, because I bought these from a bigger snowblower and put them on. So I don't know what I'm going to do with these. Maybe I'll try and shrink them up, make them a bit smaller. We'll see. Or take them off. I don't know. I'm on the fence about whether or not they're all that value. What do we got in there? What do we got in there? Is that tape? What is that? Wow. The things you find. Okay. So let me get on that and we'll see what's going on and get this wheel out. Okay. So I got that nut off of there, and we'll see what it's going to take to get that out, this guy bearing out, because I'm not sure, but there is a roll pin in the shaft under here. So we got to figure out what it's going to take. See if that roll pin right there has to be driven out. So one step at a time. How I got that bolt nut off was to grab the hex shaft with a wrench and undo it. So I'm going to pull these two bearings out. It shouldn't be that much trouble. It looks like this one's walking out already. We'll see if I can get that out. Stand by. Alright, and this, I'm hypothesizing that I might be able to take this out without pulling this off the shaft, because this is a split arrangement with a new rubber. That just might be a doable right there. Come on. Okay, so apparently the pry bar is not thin enough to get under there to get this bearing out. No. Stand by. Okay. After I took the both bolts out, or sorry, the nut off of this side and the bolt off of that side, this bearing came out no problem. This one appears to be stuck a little bit, but you just walk the shaft over and pull back. You can see I threaded the nut back on, so when I give this a few taps with a hammer to get the shaft out of the bearing, I didn't damage the threads. As you can see, they're still finger turnable. And I'm just going to try to see if we can get this out of here. Again, I keep telling you guys, it's so hard to video while you're working in the belly of these things. It's maddening. Because I don't want to pull this gizmo off the hex shaft if I don't have to, right? Because, you know, that's just the way it goes. But it seems to be stuck in the shifter. Look at this, eh? one-sided shifter arm. It don't get any cheaper than this to shift for it, or to change the speeds. So let's see. There you go. Popped it out. So that's out. So what I'm going to do, because there's a pin in this shaft right here, you can see that, the pin right there, doing this one-handed. I'm not going to change that. I'm just going to pull the wheel apart and replace the rubber. So stand by for that. Okay, pulled the wheel bearing apart. That's the hex shaft, jack shaft, the hex jack shaft. Yeah, that runs the friction wheel. Yeah, can you hear the crunchiness? She's a little bit old. The grease is dried up. There's no oil in it, so I'm just going to do what any red-blooded Canadian would do, or American, is I'm going to repack it with some Lucas Red and Tacky No. 2 grease. So I'm going to hand pack this baby with that and get her back into play, because you know what, it turns slow-ish, and who cares? It's a snowblower. I don't have the parts, and I mean, you look at this old girl, and would you spend money on it if you don't have to? So let's be frugal and try that. I'm trying to do this. Ooh, the grease is cold. Yeah, I'm just going to pack this, shoving the grease through as hard as I can, and at the same time trying to maintain the center of the camera shot. I mean, does this get any more cheaper than, hey? You ever seen anything like this? Repacking a roller bearing. A ball bearing, sorry. Let's get it right, Jimmy. She's a ball bearing. We're going to repack this ball bearing and keep stuffing grease into it. Because why not? There. We're going to extend its life. Starting to feel pretty good too. Yeah, there wasn't as much corrosion as I thought. So, I mean, I picked the seal out carefully with an O-ring pick. You can do the same thing. Bring an old bearing back to life. It's unimportant. You know, it's going to work. I guarantee you that we took this thing apart after a season, it'll be fine. So I'm going to do both of them. It's just going to be a repeat, so I won't bother videoing it. Put them back together and get it ready to put back together once we change the friction wheel. So stand by. I'll get back into that, and we'll keep going. Loud noises. Sorry, the heat's on. Getting chilly in here. Pulling these wheel bearings out, where the bolts hold in the friction. Get at those. Maybe wrench time. An extension. Stand by. We'll get an extension. Well, it don't look like a wrench is gonna, or a socket's gonna work, so I'll just do it with wrenches. Because you gotta do what you gotta do. And this is gonna be really boring to watch me do this. So I'll get this undone, flip it over, and then we'll go from there. Okay. Oh, sorry about that. Hit you guys. Oh, I'm beating the hell out of you guys. Okay. When is a screwdriver not a hammer? When it's a pry bar. Let's see if I can get under here. Ooh, stubborn. So I think what the deal is it's on this drive, and Ooh, is that ever solid? Holy smokers. That's going to take some tricks. Am I doing this wrong? I don't know. Some might think I am. There we go. Pop, pop, pop. And away she goes. So there's the petrified rubber. And I'll set that there for a second. Good old Amazon strikes again. I got brand new ones in here. Came in a 2-pack for I think around $17, $18. So it's not supporting local business, but I got it when I needed it. So there's the unpackaging. Look at that. It's the same, but only better. But is it better? Well, it will be. So I put that in there. Walk that on. You can feel it walk onto the, and then we line this up. Or do we? Where did you go? Right there. And we line that up. And you can feel it push out the wheel. You can feel her push out the wheel. So, put a little bit of lube on those threads because they're dry. Why not? Why not, right? Put a little lube. Put a little lube in your life. This is pretty easy to do. The vise makes it very handy, but I suppose you could get around it. And so far, no special tools have been required. I'll just get a little bit fancy. Because sometimes I do that. And I'll draw these on. I'll have to flip it over to do the other side. And I'll check it with a wrench for tightness. I suppose I should have done the hard side first. Anyway, stand by, I'll get the other side done. There we go, just to prove I'm not doing anything untoward. Just like I said, get that a little snug to get under here because the bearing's in the way. With the old 3/8 wrench, tightening this down. And give them a real good snuggie. And that's compressing the rubber nicely with that drive. The friction wheel, friction rubber. Whatever you want to call it. In the shop solo today. Well, it's kind of quiet, but I was driving around. Got gas for the week's journey. And I thought, you know what? I might as well go and do a little bit of work in the shop, make a video for you guys on how to service an old MTD snowblower, because I'm sure there's lots of these out there. And they're probably pretty much the same for all of them. The one we just finished off and sold, the red one there, that was an MTD. Quite a later model though. And I believe it had the bolt-in friction wheels as well. But was it cast? No, it was probably cast on a plate like that Aaron's was. Because some of these are replaceable and some aren't. I mean, as far as just the rubber portion goes. Okay, so that's done. I'm going to get back to putting this back together. And I'll set up the shot for that. Okay, so I went back off the tripod because I'm not working on the bench. And we're going to take some brake clean. So See if I can't get that rubber cheese off of there. Oh yeah. Well, we got it out. Focus. Keep that, make sure that's nice and clean. There you go. It's clean, looks like $1,000,000 now. And I'll get the shaft back in. Some more one-handle wrangling. Okay, so let's see. Get that, okay, clear that. I gotta try and stand her up enough to get it through the hole. Okay, stand by. I'm gonna wiggle this thing in. Okay, it's all back together again. Friction was, I was trying to put it in backwards. I don't believe it when I pulled it off somehow. I put this guy on the hex shaft backwards, so that didn't work out. So I flipped it around. It's all back together again. On these old buggers, when you're pulling the shaft in and out, this guy here, because I was lubricating, the key fell out. Of course, it falls into here. Got to tip it over, get it out. So now I think we're ready to put the wheels back on. I'll put a little bit of lube on here. Once I put the first wheel on, so I can rotate the gear, because you can't really rotate it without something to turn it on here. So I'll throw the wheel back on, and I'll use some grease to grease the put. It's not too bad right now, but I'll put a little bit more on there. I can see I have some spray white lithium that I was using, but I'll hit it with the good old red and ready. I don't know if you guys can get this. I believe I purchased this at Fastenal, but I'm not sure. I think you can find it around. You might not be able to find it in a consumer type store, but you might be able to get it somewhere online. So that's just something for you to consider. And anyway, I'll get back at putting her together. Alrighty, all back together, good and ready to go, greased up, both wheels are done, everything's looking good. We're going to put the cover back on it and then we'll do some more work. Okay, bottom end's all bolted up. I treated her to some new flange head cap screws. That's all done. We're ready to move forward and look at the auger. She came out, the shear pin, and this one spins freely. You can tell something with the MTDs, they don't have a grease nipple on these cheap models, so I just put the wand from the grease into the hole, spin it, and I greased in here. There's a plastic bushing, same as on the outside. Sorry, blocking the light. Same as on the outside. I can't get it to focus. Focus. Down there, you can see it. So, that side's done. That's the best we can do. You can only play with the cards you dealt. And without the bolt in there, of course, it's loose and wobbly, and you get what you get. You can see a little bit of rust leaking out of there, some rust. But, I mean, it's greasy. It's going to not seize up. And when you suck up a, I don't know, hunk of wood or rolled up newspaper and it jams the auger, it should shear. So we're moving on. Well, would you look at that? She's not seized. There it is before I lubed it. I haven't even put the lube to her yet. I put a little bit of penetrating oil to try. Let me see if I can get a shot of that. And then just give her a spin. Do it again. Wash, rinse, repeat over and over till you think like you got enough in there. There you go. About 4 pulls with the choke on. She fired right up. I run and get it hot for the oil change. Uh-oh. What happened there? I don't think it ran out of gas. Did it run out of gas? Didn't stumble. God, this thing got low compression. What happened? Oh, stand by. I think we got a problem. Well, according to the interwebs, this Tecumseh Snow King engine, it's a 5-horse, takes 620 milliliters. So that's the measured amount in the cup. So we're going to dump that in, and the oil change will be done. We warmed the engine up, dumped out the old oil. It had been worked. This snowblower worked hard. Did a very big job. Probably a one-time only job. No, maybe it was twice, clearing the deck at that house I used to own. And the snow was over my waist. So this poor little bugger, but it's the only thing I could get up on the deck by myself. And it did a lot of work. So I think it deserves a good quality oil change with some synthetic 10W30. Well, alrighty, boys and girls, that's it. Look at her, she even idles. Oil's changed, shoes are adjusted. I use 1/4 inch. You can use what you like. That's what I like. It's good for uneven driveways. Got a fresh NGK sparking plug in there. Got all kinds of lube in it. She's love lubed. I wanted to show you guys real quick. I'm going to tip it back. I broke the bolts off for the shoes. And luckily I saved the bolts from the Aaron's build, and I had bolts. This is the oil fill. It's a Christmas tree plug. Pop that out. I put 75W 90 weight oil. It was Lucas synthetic because that's all I had. A really expensive oil, but what the heck. And all the overspray oil in the tub's not hurting nothing. We'll call that rust proofing. So there you go. That's it. That's it for today. It's done. It's completed. New friction drive. We greased them bearings that are not greasable. Did the clutch or the speed control bearing. I had to do that with a hypodermic grease needle. I didn't show that because I forgot to video it. So it's all done. It's old. It's beat up. It's rusty, crusty. But I think it'll do the job if it needs to do a job. So I guess it's kind of going to be a standby unit, Jake?
Yeah.
Jake's out in the garage now.
Possibly a deck or something like that if I get a new place. We plan on trying to all make our way down south a bit from our
current location. So yeah, that's it. I'm going to close the video now. Like, subscribe, ring the bell. That's all you get for fixing an old junky beat up MTD magical 5 horsepower. What are we calling this thing? A 5 horsepower 24. It's a Tecumseh. Yeah, we used to call them scumsuckies. So yeah, there you go. 5 horsepower, 24 inch, 5 forward speeds, 1 reverse. She's pretty plain Jane. So it does, the little bugger does work hard, and maybe, depending on what's going on, we'll get some video for you of this thing in action. But that's it for now. I thought I'd make a quick video on how to fix up a beat up old snowblower and get some more life out of it. Because guess what? These things are not cheap nowadays, and they're not getting any cheaper. So yeah, Bidenomics, woohoo! Thank you. Thanks for tuning in and subscribing. And yeah, just inflation and Bidenomics is going to kill us all in North America. We've already resolved one problem. We're going to come on and resolve the next one. See you soon.
Don't let the TDS get to you.
Yeah, don't let the
don't let the trunk arrangement syndrome get to you.
Yeah, it's fine. It's going to be good.
It's going to be great.
It's going to be great.
Even if the tariffs drive up, some stuff from China by 5%, you're going to save 15 or 20% everywhere else. So you ain't going to feel it. So it's a win-win for everybody, in my opinion. Anyways, that's the way I would look at it.
Okay, there you go. That's our political rant on fixing snowblowers. See you soon. Bye-bye.